Have you ever felt that if you don't buy something right now, a part of you might vanish? That's not coincidence. That's psychological warfare dressed as a deal. Every only 3 left in stock, every blinking limited time offer is a microdose of fear. And fear makes profit. This isn't about choosing, it's about reacting. And when you react without thinking, you're no longer free. Scarcity isn't just a sales tactic, it's an entire belief system. One that conditions you to associate urgency with value and pressure with opportunity. Daniel Kahneman called this the hijacking of System 1, the fast, impulsive part of your brain that wants to avoid loss at all costs. Robert Cialdini proved that perceived scarcity boosts desire. But Viktor Frankl went deeper. When life lacks meaning, we cling to substitutes. Scarcity exploits that vacuum, and it profits from your existential drift. Why now? Because modern life is emotionally bankrupt, because stress is chronic, time is fragmented, and you're being tracked down to the millisecond by systems that know your cravings before you do. Why me? Because I've clicked. I've bought. I've fallen. I've watched timers like lifelines, until I realized they were nooses. The philosophy of urgency sells identity, not items. You don't buy because you need it. You buy because it says something about who you think you are. And you keep buying to avoid who you truly are when everything goes silent. This isn't about minimalism. It's about autonomy. It's about the terrifying possibility that your freedom has been quietly outsourced, one timer at a time. You weren't born afraid of missing out. That fear was planted, watered, cultivated. And now it blooms every time a website flashes going fast or almost sold out. It's not urgency, it's hypnosis. From childhood, we're taught that value equals rarity, that the faster you act, the smarter you are, that only the bold get the prize. But this isn't courage, it's conditioning. This is Pavlov's bell in digital form. A button flashes, your heart races, your mind shuts down. Daniel Kahneman's insights are razor sharp here. Your brain defaults to shortcuts under pressure. The heuristics your mind uses to survive are the exact paths marketers use to invade. System 1 acts before you can think. And once your emotion takes over, logic is just noise in the background. The phrases are always the same. Ends tonight, act fast, don't miss out. They're not information, they're emotional triggers. And every time you click, you reinforce the program. Urgency equals action. Action equals identity. No wonder you can't stop. Robert Cialdini's studies prove it. Scarcity combined with social proof creates a psychological magnet. Everyone's buying it becomes, I should too. Not because it's needed, but because being excluded stings. That sting isn't about missing a product, it's about being reminded of your own sense of lack. That's how deeply this system has rooted itself. It speaks the language of your inner wounds. And every impulse purchase is another chapter in the story of how your fear got monetized. Pause. Ask, who benefits from your panic? You don't just buy things, you buy illusions. You buy to feel seen, to feel included, to silence the voice that says, you're behind. But that voice doesn't come from need. It comes from your shadow. Carl Jung defined the shadow as everything within us we refuse to acknowledge. Rejection, shame, longing, buried deep and dressed in logic. The scarcity model doesn't just sell products, it activates your unresolved parts. It whispers, you're missing out, and your shadow screams, I've always missed out. You tell yourself it's just a good deal, but beneath the surface, it's not about saving money. It's about saving your identity. Gabor Mate reminds us, compulsive behaviors are often unconscious strategies to escape pain. And scarcity marketing is designed to inflame that pain. It doesn't sell comfort, it sells relief from the ache of disconnection. Every time you chase a deal, a countdown, a limited edition, you're not moving towards something. You're running from a version of yourself you don't want to face, the one who feels inadequate, left out, invisible. And the system profits from that fragmentation. It turns your insecurity into engagement, your anxiety into revenue. Jordan Peterson urges us to take radical responsibility for our inner chaos, to stop blaming external forces for internal fractures. And Florence Scovel Shinn teaches that the words we speak shape reality. If you keep repeating, "I need to act fast," you will always live in lack. You are not chasing products. You are chasing integration. But every purchase driven by fear reinforces the split. And no external thing can ever complete a self that hasn't been reclaimed from within. You think you're buying freedom, but real freedom doesn't come in a box, it doesn't have a discount, and it doesn't vanish when the timer hits 0. The scarcity game doesn't liberate you, it distracts you. It gives you the illusion of power while keeping you trapped in the same emotional loop. Click, confirm, wait, regret. And somewhere in that cycle, your sense of self erodes. Viktor Frankl taught that meaning, not happiness, is what we truly crave. But when meaning is absent, consumption becomes a surrogate. The freedom you feel when you snag a deal is momentary anesthesia, a dopamine hit pretending to be fulfillment. Gabor Mate describes this perfectly. Addiction isn't about pleasure, it's about pain relief. And the marketplace knows this. It doesn't sell to your dreams, it sells to your emptiness. The curated scarcity is not a feature, it's the bait. It's designed to touch that part of you that still believes something out there will finally make you whole. But nothing outside can fix the internal abandonment. And the more you chase completion through urgency, the more fractured you become. The marketplace thrives on that fracture. It monetizes your longing. Your urgency is their currency. Cialdini's principle of scarcity is weaponized here, not to inform but to hijack your attention, to make you believe that missing out is equivalent to failing at life. But missing out on a fabricated offer is not failure, it's detox. It's the first step back to sovereignty. You don't need what you've been conditioned to want. What you need is space. Space to remember that freedom isn't something you buy, it's something you reclaim when the noise stops. It starts with resistance, not loud, not heroic, just a breath. A pause before the purchase, a refusal to be moved by urgency. That single act, choosing not to click, is the beginning of your liberation. Daniel Kahneman spoke of the power of System 2, the slow, deliberate, conscious mind. It takes effort to access, especially in a world wired for reaction. But that effort is sacred. Because in the pause, you reclaim the space stolen by marketing scripts, psychological manipulation, and emotional debt. Viktor Frankl would say, "Meaning doesn't scream, it whispers." And when you resist the noise of scarcity, you begin to hear your own voice again. That voice doesn't ask, "What's trending?" It asks, "What truly matters?" This isn't about asceticism, it's about authorship. Jordan Peterson reminds us that structure precedes transformation. You must create the inner container, the discipline, where freedom can actually exist. Not the freedom of buying without limits, but the freedom of not needing to. Florence Scovel Shinn wrote, "Your word is your wand. So speak new words. I am not defined by what I lack. I am grounded in what I choose." That's not affirmation. That's architecture. That's the internal infrastructure of a sovereign mind. Each time you break the loop, you rewire your nervous system. You train yourself to recognize the difference between need and impulse, between calling and craving. And in that distinction, your autonomy is born. You are not your urges. You are not your scarcity. You are not your cart. You are the quiet clarity that watches and chooses. The deal expired. You didn't click, and nothing collapsed. The world kept turning, and for once you weren't chasing. You were still. And in that stillness, you met something rare, your own authority. No more panic, no more ticking clocks hijacking your nervous system. Just you, sober, intact, alert. That is the real currency the system fears, a consumer who remembers their wholeness. Gabor Mate wrote, "The attempt to escape from pain is what creates suffering. Scarcity isn't about saving money, it's about avoiding discomfort. And when you sit with that discomfort instead of numbing it, you break the spell. This is your turning point. The silence between the urge and the action is your power. In that pause, you're not consuming, you're creating, not spending, but returning. Returning to a center that cannot be advertised, quantified, or sold out. You didn't choose, you reacted. To fear, to urgency, to programming. Scarcity isn't truth, it's design, made to hijack your clarity and monetize your reflex. But the spell breaks the moment you stop chasing and begin to ask, who installed the rush? The map below isn't information, it's interruption. You are not here to react, you are here to reclaim. And the final act of reclamation is simple. Say it with presence. I choose presence over pressure. Say it again, until the noise fades. Because the loudest rebellion in an economy of urgency is your stillness.